Geoscience Remote Sensing Society, together with ISPRS, of the Gaofen Challenge, which is a challenge related to the data from the Gaofen satellite. But we also in the United States support the SpaceNet, which is a network of companies working on machine learning and in geospatial machine learning. And we also have interaction with very important conferences like CVPR, the Computer Vision and Remote Sensing, Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition Conference, where we organize every year the Earth Vision workshop that has been recently held virtually. It was supposed to be in Seattle, but of course it was done virtually and it was very successful. We also support community tools, developed tools. Like the RFI observation system, which is a system that used the satellite in order to provide information about radio frequency interference, which is extremely important for many different applications of remote sensing. And then the remote sensing code library, where you could put your remote sensing code. And this will be accepted as a publication with a digital object identifier. And it will be possible for you to link to this digital object identifier into your other papers. And therefore, this is a repository of codes which is checked by the society and valued by the society. So it is not something which is just you providing the data set, the code, but is some which has been checked by the society. And we also have the DASA website, which is Data and Algorithm Standard Evaluation website. We also work on events, and Ryan mentioned that we have so-called tie events between now and IGRS, and I guess during these days you will remember every now and then about these tie events, and those are workshops related to connection with the industries, connection with young professionals, related to how women can have and should have something to say in this engineering area, which actually is mostly male, but we are working actively in order to avoid this bias. And then we have other type of activities which are going to be in these days. We have a number of distinguished lectures and industry speakers. Here I'm just showing you 4 of our industry speakers, which are people which are basically working in very important companies and are providing their expertise and by means of presentation. So if you are a member and you are working a chapter and you would like to have these people speaking in your chapter, just look at our website. This is something that we provide for free to our members. It has a cost, of course. These people are very busy and they used to travel. Now they can do it virtually, but in any case, this is something which has a cost. This cost is covered by the society. So if you are a member, you have all these advantages. And as I mentioned, we do a number of activities, related to the education. So for instance, we have these videos. Those are videos which are actually very cool videos. That's exactly the name of them. And it's something which shows and explains what are remote sensing, the application in a very easy way. So it could be used for a K-12 kids. It could be used also for people who are not expert, and they are translated in many different languages. So you have it in English, in Spanish, in Chinese, in French, in Italian, in German, in Portuguese, and they will be also in the future translated in Arabic, and I guess it will be also in Russian. But anyway, we are just working on that, and I think it's very cool and interesting features. But we are also offering continuing education. So if you are a professional, you need credits, we can provide credit. If you are a young professional and would like to learn about the most up-to-date activities, of course you can go and listen to our webinars. And the webinars are free for members, and after the webinar they are recorded and they are still free for members. If you're not a member, then you have to pay to listen to them after they have been recorded. And this is another way why I suggest that you get in touch with us and try to be a member of our society, because this type of activity is something which is extremely interesting. So what can our society do for your technical or local community, or both of them? Of course, we can support continuing education of students and young professionals by means of this school, which is one of the GR4S, so GRSS summer school. But we can help through conferences, journal, the magazine, webinars, and so on. We can promote problem-solving abilities and algorithms by the members, by the data fusion contest or other events at our conferences, our industry speakers, and distinguished lecturers. We can help connecting companies and young motivated people. Some of our chapters are providing interesting connection and networking events. We also organize networking events at the regional and national level by means of our volunteers, and I think it's something which is extremely useful for many, especially of our young members. And then we can also connect the different communities of Earth observation practitioners and researchers in a way that they become aware of the most up-to-date and hot topic of interest by means of our e-newsletter, which, by the way, is free for everybody, not only for the members. The magazine, which is free for our members, and I think it's very valuable. As I told you, it's highly ranked as an impact factor because we have extremely interesting tutorials. And our website with a lot of news, and the social media, we have a number of connection on social media and Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and so on. So you can connect to our society in many different ways. So let me just use this school as a way to explain how GRSS works. I mean, it works by initiatives which start from the society. For instance, there is an international team, which is called GR4S International Team, which is part of the portfolio of the GRSS Director of Education. But it involved a local organization. So you have the university, I mean, there are a number of typos here, I'm sorry, but the University of Hawaii at Hilo, and Ryan is the guy who is actually doing the most of the work and this team in order to make this happening. Then there is a connection with the IGAS local organization and the IGAS technical program committee, because some of the speakers here are part of the technical committee or have been, let's say, contacted by the technical program committee of the IGAS. And as a result, we have a large number of participants. And now I was told that we have more than 500 people who registered. At the moment, I see that we have around 1,500 people attending this session, and that shows that it is GRSS is a community working together to match the needs of students, practitioners, and professionals in the area of geoscience and remote sensing. So I think that shows how we work. We have a challenge, and we tackled it together, and we were successful. This is exactly what we want to do and how we want to work. So this is my last slide is basically an invitation to join this community and become a member. Please consider it as a very important point that we want to make is if you are a member, it will be possible to share and promote your ideas, your systems, your algorithms, and your data set. It will be possible to meet other community from the geographical point of view to the technical point of view and gain from their perspective, because everybody has something to learn and everybody has something to say, to tell, to teach to the other. So we are learning from each other. This is the reason why I really value collaboration. Many of my personal collaboration and my my work collaboration have been started through the society and the activities of this society. And we want to learn more from each other, come together in conferences, and have a number of benefits that are listed here, because as I mentioned, there are chapters which are basically group of people that are funded by the society to do different activities locally. We have awards for people who have been recognized internationally or nationally for their specific activities. We have a number of grants for students coming to different conferences. We have educational services and web-based services. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you will be, will enjoy, and I'm actually sure that you will enjoy this, summer school. And leave the floor to Ryan. And thank you very much again for being here, and have a nice school.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Paolo. If you have any individual questions for Paolo while he's here, if you wanted to type anything in the chat. But while we're doing a transition here, we actually have a brief poll about the society and some of his presentation. And this is your first interactive portion of aside from the chat. But this is a poll that should have just popped up on your screen. And so if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and trying to fill that out. We would appreciate it. And then we can move on to the SUAS portion of the session one. So yeah, thank you very much, Paolo. And I'll give you guys a little bit of time to fill that poll out, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, just another few minutes for this. I can see the answers keep on trickling in. And there's a few more folks I can admit while we're waiting and this is occurring. All right, last couple minutes for the poll. So if you haven't finished the poll, please go right ahead. All right, I'll go ahead and end this poll. We had 82% participation. That's pretty good. And if you're interested to see the results, I'll go ahead and just share them here. So it seems like it was an effective presentation that you know, majority of folks are interested in joining and becoming
Let me
part
just,
of.
if you don't mind, I mean, I see that there is a question about the student chapter and young professional chapter.
Great.
So the student chapter is, I mean, the student chapter is basically a chapter made by students that belong to a specific university or set of universities. And they also have these activities together, and they are members of the Geoscience Remote Sensing Society. So it's basically a local area, and it's mostly related to a university. So you might have, for instance, a student chapter for one specific university in Brazil, another university in Brazil, and so on. While the chapter at the membership level, I mean, not students, but young professional and professional, is at the so-called section level, which basically means the geographical area, which is more or less the country. So you might have many student chapter, and for one specific country, let's say, but you could have only one chapter, and within that chapter you have a young professional representative, so group of people working as young professional at the country level. So that's slightly different. But in any case, if you're interested for a chapter to become to start a student chapter, you if you go on our website, there are two people who are in charge of student chapters, and there is one person in charge of young representative. I will post on the chat the information about these people, so you can just talk to them, send email, and connect to them.
Very good. And there was one other question I see here about the procedure to publish an article in IEEE GRSS, assuming that they are a member.
Okay, about that, we are going to have a webinar about publishing in geoscience and remote sensing journals it will be in one of these TIE events that Ryan mentioned between now and the end of October. So, sorry, the end of September. So I would suggest you stay tuned, because this is something that actually I'm going to give as a webinar together with Alejandro Freire from the University of Alagoas, Federal University of Alagoas in Brazil. Both of us were editors of the Geoscience Remote Sensing letter, so we have quite an experience. He is much better than me, but I'm just going to introduce the problem and he's going to talk. And I think that will be interesting for you in order to understand how to write a paper, how to submit a paper to Geoscience Remote Sensing Society journals, and what is the structure of let's say the way these papers will be evaluated and eventually published.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Paolo.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to mute myself and listen to the first part of this interesting day.
Okay, very good. All right. And again, for those of you who are recently joining us, welcome. We're very happy to have you. And we just had a good presentation from Dr. Gamba about the GRSS and the IEEE and opportunities to join. And so now I'll be